Hello everyone, Jeff with the Green Review. Today we're talking about wild bird feeders that deliver seeds, not suet, hummingbird feeders, mealworm feeders, or fruit feeders, just the ones that deliver seeds. They come in three major types: the tube feeder, the platform feeder, and the hoppers. And these all vary a lot in size. You can have a lot of different sizes of each one. You can have a variety of materials: glass, wood, plastics, acrylics, all those things. The tube feeders, either are metal ones, PVC, acrylic, plastic, cloth bags. There's just a lot of different varieties in there. Same thing with the platform feeders, plastic and wood. The hopper feeders, you can have glass, you can have wood, plastic, metal. There's just a wide variety of materials. This one is made out of wire mesh. The main difference between a platform feeder and a hopper feeder is that there's an extra storage area above the platform where the seed gets sent out. So that's a really quick way of looking at these feeders. All of these feeders can be squirrel proof if they're in the location where the squirrels can't get to it. They can't jump that far, although it seems like they can. Birds can fly and squirrels can't. So if you can put the feeder up where the squirrels can't get to it, then you can use any feeder out of any material. Now if the feeder is in a spot where the squirrels can get there, then if it's on a pole, there are baffles that you can put on poles that prevent the squirrels from climbing. And if it's hanging, there are big plastic domes that can be put over the top that prevent the squirrels from getting that way. My dome is actually sideways on a wire to prevent the squirrels from coming along and getting to a whole bunch of feeders that they can't jump to otherwise. The other benefit of a baffle is that on platform feeders, they cover up the platform to protect it from snow and rain. So it's nice to use baffles on platform feeders. When you look at a feeder that is says it's squirrel proof, you need to find out if it's squirrel proof to prevent the squirrels from damaging the feeder or from getting to the seeds. So an inexpensive feeder like this, squirrels can get there and damage it pretty easily. If it has metal bands around it, that protects it. If the portholes themselves are metal, that protects them. In this case, the squirrels have been chewing on this one. They've scratched the paint off, but they haven't been able to get to the feeder to damage it. Now, the feeders that prevent them from getting to the seeds can be done in a lot of ways. You can have spinners, you can have spring-loaded doors, you can have battery-operated shock things. There's all kinds of ways. This one has a perch on the front that is counterbalanced, so you can adjust it for whatever weight of bird. If you don't want big grackles on there, when something big lands on there, it puts the door down over the seeds. So there's a lot of ways of doing the feeder to protect the birds, to protect the seeds, or to protect the feeder. If you can't protect the feeders, then another way to do that is to use the Cole's Blazing Hot blend of seeds that has habanero pepper oil on the seeds, and once the squirrels taste that, they won't come back. So you can keep the squirrels out of your feeders in a lot of different ways. Now, what you want to look for when you're buying a feeder, the first thing is how easy is it to clean. The seeds are going to eventually accumulate in the bottom. There's sticks and other things, dust and debris that are in the seed mixes, so you're going to want to clean that stuff out. Sometimes it's good to be able to take the bottom off. In this case, the screws on there, so it's not as easy to do. In this one, the bottom comes off, all that stuff comes out. All the milo seeds that the birds didn't like are accumulating on the bottom, and so it's very simple to do. You want to be able to clean the feeders out for stale seeds, moldy seeds, especially Niger feeders that have little tiny portholes. Just a little bit of rain can get on there and clump up some seeds behind it, so sometimes they'll get moldy and you want to be able to clean them out. If the seed package has the last ingredient being oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, then the seeds are being treated to keep the dust down in the packaging, and eventually you'll end up with a feeder that's all gummed up on the inside. I've cleaned the top of this one and I haven't cleaned the bottom of this one. It takes a little bit of effort to get all that oil stuck inside there out. There are long handled brushes for that, and there's also A lot of these feeders are dishwasher safe. If you use soap and water, that's great. If you need to, you can use 1 part bleach to 10 parts water and clean the feeders that way. We want to keep them clean so we don't have any disease problems. The perches on a feeder can be short or long. If they're long, larger birds can get on there, and we don't want to feed the big blackbirds a lot of times, so we get shorter perches. And then the cardinals have a hard time, and so something with a U-shaped perch is good for cardinals. May also still feed the blackbirds. So putting safflower seed in something like this, the blackbirds don't like as much, and the cardinals do. May work out just fine. Now the feeders or the perches can be they can be wooden, they can be plastic, they can be metal. This one has the perches that are metal coated in plastic, and there's just really no reason for that. The birds' feet are not going to stick to the feeder. They don't have sweat glands in their feet, and the bottoms of their feet are covered in scales that are basically the same material as your fingernail, so they're not going to stick. When was the last time you saw a whole bunch of birds stuck to a metal fence or a telephone wire? Another feature you want to look for is if the bottom is flat or if it has a angled floor. Pyramid shape or an angle will force the seeds out to the portholes and not let them accumulate on the bottom. So this is a very important thing to look for in both tube feeders and hopper feeders. The hoppers also have an angle or a pyramid shaped bottom that forces the seed out. An angled floor on this one does that, so you definitely want to look for that too. It reminds me that if you think that you need to go on vacation and the birds are going to starve to death at your feeder, don't worry about it. They go to a lot of different feeders and a lot of different natural sources of food every day, not just yours. And so if yours are out of food for a few days or a week or two in the middle of the winter, that's fine. They're not going to starve to death. They're just going to use some other sources of food. They will come back to yours as soon as you start putting food back in it. So just go ahead and go on vacation and don't worry about the birds. They will come back. And this has been a Greener View. Thanks for watching.